Good afternoon. I'm Peter Dorfler. Welcome to the Pastor's Cut. I thought it'd be fun to share a few things that I cut and will not get to preach on Sunday beforehand. Unlike a director's cut, this will not be a longer version of the sermon, but in just a few nuggets that I enjoyed looking at, but simply didn't have the ability to include. And so I hope that it encourages you. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe it'll inspire you to read the Bible on your own, to study it, to get into it, ultimately to trust that the Lord's word is good and true and speaks with just a ton of power today. And so I've been preaching from Isaiah. We started in chapter 1. We'll go to 12 and then take a break for a while. And this Sunday, we will be in Isaiah 8, verse 11. And I want to read just two verses from here and talk a little bit about fear. So Isaiah 8:11, the Lord is warning Isaiah to not walk like the way of what he says his people. And he says in verse 12, do not call conspiracy all that this people calls conspiracy. And that's fascinating, and we'll hit that a little bit Sunday morning. And do not fear what they fear, nor be in dread. But the Lord of hosts, him you shall honor as holy. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And I was looking at how this one king named Uzziah, I was looking sort of at this idea of the fear and how the fear of the Lord plays out. Because the Lord is essentially saying to Isaiah, look, you don't need to fear foreign nations, other people. If you want to fear someone, fear me. And you don't need to dread anything. You don't need to dread what might happen, how the kingdom where you live, Judah, might be destroyed. If you want to dread something, dread falling into the hands of the living God. And what's fascinating is that Isaiah's ministry begins with a vision that happened when King Uzziah died. And there's this neat moment here about King Uzziah. So we're jumping to 2 Chronicles. I'm in 26. Verse 3, and it said this, Uzziah was 16 years old when he began to reign. Now, when I was 16, I couldn't do much. I probably thought I could do a lot, but imagine, right, the control and the power that rests in the hands of a 16-year-old. Now, he would have had his advisors, and they would have steered him for certain, but he reigned 52 years, one of the longest reigns. And this is what I noticed here. It says, I'm pulling a sticky note off my sheet. His mother's name was Jecoliah of Jerusalem, and he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done. He set himself to seek God in the days of Zechariah, who instructed him in the fear of God. And as long as he sought the Lord, God made him prosper. So that idea of fearing God is not just like trembling before his presence. It's wider than that. To be instructed in the fear of the Lord was kind of a phrase that meant to be instructed in the way of the Lord, the law given to Moses, to all of Israel, the prophecies that had come. And as long as he sought the Lord, God made him prosper. But what happened, and this happens a lot, is that the very prosperity that God blessed Uzziah with actually becomes his downfall, which is really sad. Because when you go to 2 Chronicles 26, verse 16, it writes, but when he, Uzziah, was strong, he grew proud to his destruction, for he was unfaithful to the Lord his God. And then it details what he did. He took on roles he shouldn't have taken on as a king. But it's that dynamic. When he's young, he seeks the Lord, and as he seeks the Lord prospers his kingship. As he grows in wealth and, quote, wisdom and knowledge and strength, essentially he is older and wiser, right? He actually becomes older and more foolish. And he becomes unfaithful to the Lord. And it says, he grew proud to his destruction. And so the thing that we just walk away with is a little warning here. Right? The first warning is simple. Don't fear other people. Don't fear what might happen. Don't fear the unknown future that everyone loves to forecast and predict. Usually the fearmongers will get the most press. And that stuff can kind of burrow kind of deep into us. We need to have pretty good walls up around that. Don't call conspiracy what other people call conspiracy. Let the Lord be your fear, which ironically enough means let him be the one that you love as well. Seek him and walk in his ways, and there's blessing and prosperity. Not always material. Sometimes, in fact, what the Lord has planned is suffering and trial. But all pointing to a future that is certain, where the blessings of God are given to the people of God. But if the Lord has given you prosperity, be extra careful that it actually doesn't make you proud and turn away from the very God who gave you his own blessings. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching and listening. If you have any questions, you can list them. I might be able to reply to them. I might not. No promises. And welcome to join us Sunday morning at 10 a.m. in Jefferson Hills. If you don't have your own church, if you have your own church, go to it, be faithful, attend, get there. But if not, you're welcome to join us, and I would love to meet you. See you. Bye.